Now, for more on the latest in regards to the US presidential election, we connect to Ian Phillips. He is Vice President of the International News Division at the Associated Press. He's based in New York City. Ian, thanks for joining us. Now, would you agree that this has been one of the wildest and most bizarre elections we've seen in many years? And would you say it's also one of the most consequential, not only for the US, but for the entire world?
Absolutely. Well, in journalism, oftentimes people overuse words such as unprecedented, epic, critical, crucial, but really all those do apply to this US election. It is coming obviously in the middle of a pandemic that has killed more than 230,000 Americans, incredible numbers. The economy has been in freefall. Unemployment has soared. We have seen racial divisions, splits across the nation in terms of the attitudes towards diversity, and everything is at stake. And you really cannot downplay the importance of the election. These are two men with very different visions of the future, and they have really mobilized their supporters. The numbers are quite extraordinary. 102 million people voted before Election Day. Now, obviously, that was driven by the pandemic, but also it's a sign of the deep desire on both sides to get the White House, to control the Senate. There is so much at stake, and it's proving to be a very exciting night. Some key results are still not in, might not be in for many hours, perhaps days. So I would caution that what you're seeing so far is very preliminary.
Right, and let's talk about the campaigns that both candidates ran up until this election. President Trump, Joe Biden couldn't really have been much more different in how they went about it. Despite catching COVID-19 earlier, President Trump campaigned really relentlessly in the swing states in the final run-up and has been all over social media as per usual. Biden appeared far less frequently, and his events were in more of a drive-in format. Now, the optics couldn't have been more different, really. Which, though, do you think was more appealing to American voters?
Well, we'll see. Let's see what the results show. But what I can say is that AP research on this matter, we call it VoteCast, which is a huge survey of Americans across the nation, has shown tonight some interesting facts. The majority of Americans have put the pandemic as their #1 priority, and they see Joe Biden as the man better suited to get America out of the pandemic. However, in a way that that reflects how the vote is looking as though it's split tonight, more people trust Donald Trump with the economy, just by a small margin, but nevertheless, there is a difference there. So the campaign was absolutely dominated by coronavirus and the pandemic. Both men had very different attitudes towards it. Donald Trump was skeptical about wearing a mask. Joe Biden always appeared in a mask. Donald Trump said this week to a rally he might even consider firing Dr. Fauci, the leading face of the fight against the pandemic. So that has absolutely dominated, but ultimately we'll have to wait for the results. And like I say, it could be hours, it could be days.
Yeah, and while we're on that point, do you think that we are going to find out the winner in the coming hours, or do you think it is going to be delayed? And if it is delayed by a significant degree, how do you think President Trump is going to react? He's already said that he's not happy with this situation. And do you forecast there could be some kind of civil unrest in the US?
If the last 4 years are anything to go by, it's very difficult to predict what President Trump will do. We've all seen that. We've all been on the edge of our seats looking at his announcements on Twitter and other social media. It's really hard to say. He did say in the run-up to Election Day that his lawyers would descend on Pennsylvania, a key state, and they would try and fight the fact that some of the mailed-in ballots could be counted days after the election. Let's see if that happens. We simply don't know. But other than that, I think we will be in for a wait. The key states are looking like not just Florida. I mean, Florida is extremely important. Donald Trump has to win Florida to really stay competitive in this race. But there's Pennsylvania, there's Michigan, there's Wisconsin, and we don't know the results yet. The counting is slow. The pandemic has really slowed down the vote count in that way. It takes more time to process votes that have been sent in the mail. That's just a fact. Some of the numbers we're seeing early on tonight are the votes that were cast in advance of the election, and they're being counted first in some states. In other states, they're being counted second. So what might appear to be a lead for one side can easily be erased as other votes are counted.
Yeah.
As for your question about social unrest,
yeah.
Well, so far today has been peaceful. There haven't been any incidents as many had feared. But what I can tell you is that the nation is on edge. The nation is anxious. It's exhausted after a 2020 that's truly unprecedented. Just down here in New York City in Battery Park, I walked past bars and restaurants that are boarded up. In Midtown, major shops are completely covered in plywood because people fear there could be riots. And it's not just here in New York, it's in Washington, it's in Denver, it's across the nation. People fear that with people so on edge about the outcome of the election, there could be some civil unrest. But so far, that has not happened, and we'll see what happens in coming days.
Well, we hope you have a safe and quiet night, Ian, and we appreciate your insights. I'm sure you have a very busy night ahead of you there in the Big Apple, so we appreciate you for joining us. Thank you.